Okay, let's get ready. Guys, I'll be looking back at you, okay? I have not forgotten about you. I'm still setting up. I'm ashy, so I'm going to use this Pond's moisturizer to just, you know, fix the ashiness real quick. We're just going to be doing some burgundy eyebrow. I'm not even sure if I have a burgundy eyebrow, but I'm going to do red. This is burgundy, but it's like... Okay, let's see what we can do. Today is Vlogmas number 5. Okay, let's get ready. Excuse me. So I'm gonna start playing the Storytime. Guys, I got this laptop as a gift, okay? Like, literally as a gift. Like, period. And don't ask me why it's not MacBook. I'm really not even a fan of MacBook, actually. So, yeah. Okay, I don't know what's happening. Let me get some other laptop, because maybe... I'm just gonna use my best friend's computer for now. I think hers is also like low, but let me go find the charger. Yes. I will take a look at you guys, okay? I am just busy right now. Hello. Hi guys. Yeah, give me a moment, okay? I am trying.
The marriage contract.
So you still don't believe you can get Nubia's permanent teeth in 24 hours? Well,
Oh my God. Once upon a time, in a small Nigerian village called Oko,
I'll be right
there
back,
lived a
okay?
man named Chinedu and his wife, Adaeze. Chinedu loved Adaeze very much. She was beautiful and kind, and they were very happy together. But one day, Chinedu started to feel very strange. He began to spy on Adaeze, even though she had done nothing wrong. He would hide behind doors and watch her when she was cooking, or he would follow her to the market without her knowing. One evening, Chinedu saw Adaeze talking to their neighbor, Ifeanyi. Ifeanyi was a tall and handsome man who always wore a big smile. Chinedu's heart filled with jealousy, and he felt very angry. He thought Adaeze was being too friendly with Ifeanyi, but in truth, they were just talking about the weather. That night, Chinedu couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about Adaeze and Ifeanyi. He decided to follow Adaeze the next day to see what she was doing. In the morning, Adaeze told Chinedu she was going to visit her friend, Chinyere. Chinedu pretended to be busy but secretly followed her. Adaeze went to Chinyere's house and they sat outside laughing and chatting. Chinedu hid behind a tree and watched them. He felt a bit silly but couldn't help himself. As Chinedu was spying on his wife, a man named Emeka walked by.
Okay, guys, let's get started.
Emeka was
Cause
known in the village for his charm and good
what's going
looks.
on?
He saw
Nothing
Chinedu
going
hiding and
on.
asked,
Give me a
"Chinedu,
moment,
why
okay?
are you
Hold
hiding
on.
here?" Chinedu was embarrassed but decided to tell Emeka the truth. "I don't know why, but I keep spying on my wife. I feel jealous and worried all the time." Emeka looked at Chinedu with concern. "You should trust your wife, Chinedu. Spying on her will only make things worse." Chinedu nodded, but still felt unsure. As Emeka was about to leave, he turned back and said, "By the way, Chinedu, can I talk to you in private later? I have something important to tell you." Chinedu agreed, wondering what Emeka wanted to say. Later that evening, Chinedu met Emeka at a quiet spot by the river. Emeka looked nervous as he spoke. "Chinedu, I need to confess something. I have feelings for you. I know it sounds strange, but I think I love you." Chinedu was shocked. He had never thought about Emeka in that way. His mind was filled with confusion and fear. He didn't know what to say or do. Emeka continued, "I know this is difficult, but I just needed to tell you. I hope you can understand." Chinedu felt like his
I
world
understand
turned upside down.
what?
He didn't know how to handle these new feelings. He was afraid of what Adaeze would think if she found out. He also didn't know if he felt the same way about Emeka. With his heart and mind in turmoil, Chinedu realized he needed to make a choice. But what would that choice be? Chinedu couldn't sleep that night. His mind was spinning with thoughts of Emeka and Adaeze. He felt guilty and confused. The next morning, he decided to act normal and pretend nothing had happened. He greeted Adaeze with a smile and went about his daily chores. But as the days went by, Chinedu found it hard to avoid Emeka. Every time he saw Emeka, he felt his heart race. He was torn between his feelings and his love for Adaeze. Chinedu knew he couldn't keep living this way, but he didn't know what to do. One afternoon, Adaeze noticed that Chinedu seemed troubled. She sat beside him and asked, "Chinedu, is something bothering you? You seem different lately." Chinedu wanted to tell Adaeze everything, but he was scared. Instead, he just shook his head and said, "No, Adaeze, I'm fine." just a little tired. Ades looked at him with concern but didn't press further. She hoped Chinedu would open up to her when he was ready. Meanwhile, Emeka continued to try to talk to Chinedu. He sent him messages and tried to meet him in secret. Chinedu felt trapped. He didn't want to hurt Emeka, but he also didn't want to betray Adaeze. One evening, Chinedu decided to go for a walk to clear his mind. As he walked through the village, he saw Emeka sitting alone by the river. Emeka looked sad and lost in thought. Chinedu knew he couldn't keep avoiding him, so he walked over and sat down beside him. Emeka, we need to talk, Chinedu said softly. Emeka looked up with a hopeful expression. I've missed you, Chinedu. I know this is complicated, but I can't stop thinking about you. Chinedu took a deep breath. Emeka, I don't know what to do. I'm so confused. I care about Adaeze, but I also have these feelings for you. I don't want to hurt anyone. Emeka nodded, understanding the struggle Chinedu was facing. Chinedu, whatever you decide, I will respect your choice. I just want you to be happy. Chinedu felt a little better after talking to Emeka, but he knew he still had a lot to figure out. He decided to take things one day at a time and try to understand his feelings. Days turned into weeks, and Chinedu found himself growing closer to Emeka. They spent more time together, and Chinedu started to feel a strange comfort in Emeka's presence. But every time he looked at Adaeze, he felt a pang of guilt. One day, while Chinedu was at the market, he overheard some villagers talking about him and Adaeze. They were saying that Chinedu seemed distant and that Adaeze deserved better. Chinedu's heart sank. He didn't want to hurt Adaeze or make her feel unloved. That evening, Chinedu decided he needed to talk to Adaeze. He couldn't keep living with this secret. He took a deep breath and walked up to her. Adaeze, can we talk? Adaeze looked at him with surprise but nodded. They sat down together, and Chinedu began to speak. Adaeze, there's something I need to tell you. I've been feeling very confused lately, and I don't know how to explain it. Adaeze listened quietly, her eyes filled with concern and curiosity. Chinedu felt his heart pounding as he continued. I've been spending a lot of time with Emeka, and I think I have feelings for him. I don't want to hurt you, but I also can't ignore how I feel. Adaeze was silent for a moment, trying to process what Chinedu had just said. She took a deep breath and finally spoke. Chinedu, I appreciate your honesty. This is a lot to take in, but I want to understand and support you. We can figure this out together. Chinedu felt a wave of relief wash over him. He didn't know what the future held, but he was grateful for Adaeze's understanding and willingness to work through this with him. He knew they had a long road ahead, but at least they were facing it together. The next few days were strange and difficult for Chinedu, Adaeze, and even Emeka. Chinedu felt lighter after his confession, but he also knew they all had a lot to sort out. Adaeze tried her best to understand Chinedu's feelings, even though it was hard for her. Emeka, on the other hand, was patient and supportive, knowing that Chinedu needed time. One evening, Adaeze suggested they all sit down together to talk.
So you're 55 years old with about $1 million saved for retirement, and you want to retire at age 65. Can you do it? Well, today, we're going to find out. Nancy Weed, CEO and founder here at Howard Bailey Financial, also a...
She wanted to understand more about Emeka and his feelings for Chinedu. Emeka agreed, and they met at Chinedu and Adaeze's house. As they sat together, Adaeze began. Emeka, I want to thank you for being honest with Chinedu. This isn't easy for any of us, but I think it's important we talk about it. Emeka nodded, looking at Chinedu for reassurance. Adaeze, I care about Chinedu deeply, and I don't want to come between you two. I just needed to tell him how I feel. Adaeze smiled gently. I understand. Chinedu and I have been together for a long time, and this is new for both of us. But
Did I not make it dry? I don't know what's going on.
Chinedu felt a warmth in his heart. He was grateful for Adaeze's strength and understanding. Thank you, Adais. I don't want to lose you. I just want to be honest about my feelings. The three of them talked for a long time, sharing their thoughts and fears. They agreed to take things slowly and see where their feelings led them. Adais suggested they spend more time together as friends, to get to know each other better and to understand their emotions. Over the next few weeks, Chinedu, Adais, and Emeka started spending more time together. They went on walks, cooked meals, and shared stories. Slowly, a sense of comfort and trust began to grow among them. One day, while they were having a picnic by the river, Chinedu noticed something different. He realized that his feelings for Emeka were still strong, but his love for Adais had not faded. In fact, it seemed to grow even stronger. He felt a deep connection to both of them and was confused about what it meant. That evening, as they walked home, Chinedu decided to share his thoughts. Adaisi and Emeka, I need to talk to both of you. Spending time together has made me realize something. I care about both of you, and I don't want to lose either of you. Adais looked at Chinedu with a mixture of surprise and curiosity. Emeka also seemed intrigued. What do you mean, Chinedu? Adais asked. Chinedu took a deep breath. I mean, I think I love both of you. I don't know if it's possible to love two people at the same time, but that's how I feel. And I want to find a way for us all to be happy. Adais and Emeka exchanged a glance. It was a lot to take in, but they could see that Chinedu was sincere. Adais spoke first. Chinedu, I love you, and I want you to be happy. If this means finding a new way to be together, then I'm willing to try. Emeka nodded in agreement. I feel the same way. Let's take this one step at a time and see where it leads us. Chinedu felt a sense of hope and relief. He knew the path ahead wouldn't be easy, but with Adais and Emeka by his side, he believed they could find a way to make it work. As the days turned into weeks, they continued to explore their feelings and strengthen their bond. They faced challenges and moments of doubt, but their commitment to understanding and supporting each other grew stronger with each passing day. Months passed, and Chinedu, Adais, and Emeka grew closer. They faced many questions from the villagers, who noticed they were spending a lot of time together. Some people whispered and gossiped, but the trio chose to ignore them. They knew their journey was unique and wanted to support each other no matter what. One day, as they were walking through the market, they ran into Chinyere, Adezi's friend. Chinyere had always been kind and understanding. She greeted them with a warm smile. Hello Chinedu, Adez and Emeka. You three seem to be together a lot lately. Is everything alright? Chinyere asked. Adez looked at Chinedu and Emeka, then back at Chinyere. She decided to be honest. Chinyere, we are trying something different. Chinedu has feelings for Emeka, and we are all figuring it out together. Chinyere raised an eyebrow but nodded thoughtfully. That's very brave of you. Love can be complicated, but as long as you are happy, that's what matters. Chinedu felt relieved by Chinyere's response. It was nice to have someone who understood. Thank you, Chinyere. We are taking things one step at a time. As they continued through the market, they felt a sense of unity. Despite the challenges, they were determined to make their relationship work. They found joy in small moments, like cooking together, sharing stories, and supporting each other through difficult times. One evening, Emeka invited Chinedu and Adez to his house for dinner. He wanted to cook them a special meal to show his appreciation. As they sat down to eat, Emeka said, I want to thank both of you for accepting me. This journey hasn't been easy, but I'm grateful for your love and support. Adais smiled warmly. We are all in this together, Emeka. We are a team, and we will figure things out. Chinedu nodded in agreement. Yes, we will. And I'm grateful for both of you. You have shown me what true love and understanding mean. As they enjoyed their meal, Chinedu felt a deep sense of contentment. He realized that love didn't have to fit into one mold. It could be different and still be beautiful. Amina added, working together makes us stronger. The next day, the trio decided to visit Adazi's parents. They wanted to share their story and hope for their support. Adazi was nervous but knew it was important. Something we need to tell you. Chinedu has feelings for Emeka, and we are trying to navigate our relationship together. Mr. Okafor looked surprised, while Mrs. Okafor seemed thoughtful. After a moment of silence, Mrs. Okafor spoke. Adaeze, Chinedu, Emeka, love is a powerful thing. It can be complicated, but as long as you support each other and are honest, you will find a way. Mr. Okafor nodded in agreement. We may not fully understand, but we trust you, Adaeze. We want you to be happy. Chinedu felt a wave of relief and gratitude. Thank you, Mama, Papa. Your support means everything to us. As they left Adaeze's parents' house, they felt more confident in their journey. They knew there would be challenges, but with love and understanding, they believed they could face anything. As the weeks turned into months, Chinedu, Adaeze, and Emeka continued to grow together. They faced moments of doubt and fear, but always came back to the love and trust they had built. They learned that love could be different and still be strong. And so, their journey continued, filled with hope.
There's
love,
potential.
and the
There's
promise of a
potential.
future where they
What do
could
you
all
guys
be happy
think?
together.
There's
As time
potential
went on,
though.
Chinedu, Adaeze, and Emeka settled into a routine that worked for them. They spent their
There's
days
potential.
working, enjoying each other's company, and navigating the challenges of their unique relationship. Despite the gossip from some villagers, they felt stronger together. One day, while they were enjoying a quiet afternoon at home, there was a knock on the door. Chinedu opened it to find Chief Okeke, the village elder, standing there. Chief Okeke was a wise and respected man, known for his fairness and understanding. Chinedu, male, mid-30s, oval face shape, dark brown skin, short curly black hair, Nigerian, dark brown eyes, wearing a traditional agbada. Adaeze, female, late 20s, heart-shaped face, dark brown skin, long braided black hair, Nigerian dark brown eyes, dressed in a beautiful Ankara dress. Emeka, male, early 30s, square face shape, dark brown skin, shaved head, Nigerian, dark brown eyes, wearing a vibrant Isiagu shirt. Good afternoon, Chinedu. May I come in? Chief Okeke asked. Chief Okeke greeted Adaeze and Emeka with a warm smile. I have heard some rumors about you three, and I wanted to speak with you directly. Of course, Chief Okeke. Please, come in, Chinedu replied, stepping aside to let him in. Adaeze and Emeka exchanged worried glances, but Chinedu nodded. We understand, Chief. Please, have a seat. As they all sat down, Chief Okeke looked at them kindly. I have heard that you, Chinedu, have feelings for Emeka, and that the three of you are trying to navigate this together. Is that true?
Chinedu took a deep breath and nodded. Yes, Chief, it is true. We have been open and honest with each other, and we are trying to make it work.
The first signs of sciatic nerve decay may surprise you. Most people don't know this, but the real reason behind searing sciatic nerve pain has less to do with a bulging disc or a
Chief Okeke stroked his beard thoughtfully. Love is a complex thing. It can take many forms, and what matters most is that you treat each other with respect and kindness. If you can do that, then you have my support. Adaeze sighed in relief. Thank you, Chief Okeke. Your support means a lot to us. Emeka nodded in agreement. We are trying our best to be honest and caring toward each other. Chief Okeke smiled. Good. Remember, it is not the opinions of others that define your happiness. It is how you treat one another and the love you share. Stay true to yourselves and your hearts. With those wise words, Chief Okeke stood up to leave. Thank you for your time. I will always be here if you need advice or support. After Chief Okeke left, the trio felt a renewed sense of hope. They knew their journey would still be challenging, but having the support of someone as respected as Chief Okeke was a great comfort. Days turned into weeks, and life continued in the village. One sunny afternoon, while Chinedu, Adaeze, and Emeka were working in the garden, they noticed a group of children playing nearby. The children were laughing and chasing each other, their joy infectious. One of the children, a little girl named Ngozi, ran up to them and asked, Can we play here? We promised to be careful. Adai smiled warmly. Of course, Ngozi. Just be sure to watch out for the plants. As the children played, Chinedu, Adais, and Emeka found themselves joining in. They played games, told stories, and shared laughter. It was a reminder of the simple joys in life and the importance of community. Later that evening, as they sat together watching the sunset, Chinedu turned to Adaize and Emeka. I'm grateful for both of you. Our journey hasn't been easy, but it's moments like these that make it all worth it. Adais nodded, her eyes shining with affection. We are stronger together, and no matter what challenges come our way, I know we can face them. Emeka smiled, taking Chinedu's hand. Agreed. We are a team, and we will always support each other. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the village, Chinedu, Adaize, and Emeka felt a sense of peace. Their journey was far from over, but they had each other, and that was all that mattered. As the days turned into months, the bond between Chinedu, Adaize, and Emeka continued to strengthen. They became more comfortable with their unique relationship, finding joy in the small moments they shared together. The villagers, slowly but surely, began to accept their situation, seeing the genuine happiness and love that radiated from the trio. One day, as they were walking through the village, they saw a notice about the annual village festival. The festival was a big event, filled with music, dancing, and traditional ceremonies.
Being forced to see ads? Getting paid to see ads? Do you know how much of the content you see on a daily basis are actually ads?
24-year-old hostess Veronica Redden is suing her mother-in-law, Donna Redden, for
I got it.
and damages.
I got it. What you guys think? What you guys think?
Veronica says Donna came to live with her.
Oh, there's only 2 of you in here?
In Iraq.
I thought it was more.
Right in the courtroom.
I thought it was more. But that's okay. That's okay.
Ms. Redden, the defendant is your mother-in-law. Are you still married to her son?
Yes.
He's in the armed forces?
Navy.
How long has he been away?
He's been gone since December 6th.
According to your complaint, your mother-in-law owes you for rent and for other conduct that caused you loss of wages, harassment, whatever. If your mother-in-law says she lived with you for a brief period of time, she didn't stay there the entire month, she shouldn't have to pay rent, and she doesn't think that anything that you did rises to the level of harassment. Is that right, Mrs. Redden?
That's true, Your Honor.
All right. Your mother-in-law came to live with you when?
December 4th.
Why?
Because my husband was leaving for deployment and I don't drive. I also have 3 small children who I was going to need help with.
How old are they?
They're 3, 4, and soon to be 2.
Are these your only grandchildren?
Yes, they are, Your Honor.
So you asked your mother-in-law to come to do you a favor.
Pretty much.
Where was she coming from?
Oregon.
Is this your only child?
Yes, it is.
How long have you lived in Oregon, by the way?
40 years off and on.
So you were really relocating?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, what do you think she owes you for?
There was an agreement between her and my husband that was made over the phone that there was conversation back and forth that I was thinking about when she moved out to get a job for a second income. And when he'd mentioned that to her, she said, no, I don't need to get a job, that she'd pay $700 when she moved every month for her to move in.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm disabled. I have a VA pension that I get monthly.
Go ahead.
So she agreed that it was going to be $700
I heard that.
That way I wasn't going to have to get a job because for some reason she didn't approve of the fact that I wanted to get a job.
Right, that sounds perfect to me. I would rather you stay home and watch 2, 3, and 4-year-olds than you watch them. You made them. You watch them. Why should she watch them? She's already raised hers. Right? You have a lot of little children. A lot of little children could drive you crazy if you're with them 24/7. So it's nice to go out and get a job. You know, you're with adults all day, you leave somebody else to take care of your kids. Okay, so you agreed to give her $700 a month so she wouldn't go out
Guys,
and
let me know.
take care of her own children?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that sounds very nice.
supposed to.
Shh. That sounds very nice of you so far. Relocating from a place you lived for 40 years to come and help your daughter-in-law because your son was going off to serve his country and you were coming to assist her.
Yes, ma'am.
So what happened?
She moved in December 4th. First few months, things were fine.
Okay.
Then in February,
Okay.
she mentioned that SeaWorld out in San Diego was doing a job fair and that they were hiring. She brought it up to me stating, oh, I think you should try to do it. You know, it's a job, you know, I'll stay home, I'll watch the kids while you get this job. I went, I applied, got the job, and then we left for a weekend in Fresno because
Who left?
all of us, my 3 kids, myself, and her, drove up to Fresno because my youngest sister was having a baby shower. Well, while we're in Fresno, things were perfectly fine. We come back from Fresno, I get the job, and then she starts, as soon as I start working, she starts getting attitude with me because I'm working and not home all the time.
It's just you had disagreements with her over being out of the house during the day when you were supposed to be working?
The days that I was working, she started having problems with the fact that I was working long hours.
Oh, well, were you working long hours?
I was working between 5 and 8 hours a day.
Okay, what was the original plan? How many hours were you supposed to work?
She didn't give me well, I'd only appreciate it if you worked this many hours a day. It was just,
But we're not talking about you going out socializing after work.
no, I go to work. She would drop me off at work. She would come pick me up from work and we'd go home.
How far is the workplace from your home?
It's about a 10, 15-minute drive from my house.
Okay, and when she would come to pick you up, she'd come with the 3 children.
Yes.
So far, she sounds like a saint to me.
It may sound like she was a saint, but there wasn't. There were disagreements throughout the house.
I don't care whether there were disagreements or not. So far, she sounds like a saint to me. Go ahead, keep going.
So I started working. Deborah, who's my witness, was also working with me. She started the same exact day I started, and we were working pretty much the same hours. So I'd asked Donna if it was okay if we give Deborah a ride home, because Deborah lived about half an hour away from work, and she was taking the city bus to and from work, which is about a 2-hour ride. She didn't have a problem with that either. Well, then it started in conversation that Deborah was going to move in with me because she was having issues at home. She just wasn't getting along with her mother very well. Her father was also out on deployment in the Army. Well, Donna apparently took it into her head that the reason I was having Deborah move in was a ploy to get her to leave my house, which wasn't true because Deborah was actually moving in to help.
Deborah has children?
No,
So why wasn't she working more hours and you working less hours?
because she's under 18, she's 17, and because of California law, she can only work so many hours.
She's 17 years old and she wasn't getting along in her house?
Correct.
Why wasn't she getting along in her house? Do you
I don't
think?
know, that's between her and her parents.
Right. That didn't give you any cause to pause if a 17-year-old has to move out of her house because she's not getting along with her parents?
No, because I had issues with my parents.
So keep going. I'm still waiting for this lawsuit. I don't get a lawsuit, I get a saga, but not a
The
lawsuit.
evening of Easter Sunday, Deborah comes home, she sits me down,
Has
she's
she
like,
moved into the house yet?
she had.
And
Deborah came home Sunday evening and told me that afternoon when Donna had picked Deborah up from work at about 4 o'clock, that both of my children, the boys, had both unbuckled their seatbelts in the car. And she was driving a little faster than she normally would and slammed on the brakes. Slammed on the brakes so hard that it sent my 4-year-old son flying into the middle console of my van and hurt his stomach. Well, we got into the car the next morning because she was taking me to work, and she made some snide remark towards my son about buckling in. And
When you shop Kroger brand, you can count on proven quality for all your favorite things. And we guarantee you'll love the delicious taste of every bubbly sip and every fresh flavor. Shop Kroger brand today. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Welcome to Can You Gift It? The Google Shop
shopping game show where the deals are endless and everyone wins. Today's contestants are both excellent shoppers because they can reach the top shelf in any store. Please welcome basketball stars Kelsey Plum.
I asked her, I was like, what is this that I hear about the boys not being buckled in and that you hurt Connor's stomach? She's like, yeah, I
So
did.
when you came home, did Connor complain of a bad stomach?
No.
Keep going.
So she's like, yeah, I did it. She was like, I did it because I was teaching them a lesson that they didn't need to have their belts unbuckled. So she tells me that she'd stopped prior to this before and that she tried buckling them in and they wouldn't stay buckled up.
It's okay, she made excuses. Keep going. I'm waiting for the lawsuit, Miss Redden.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You had to watch your own children that you made because she was in bed.
So that gives her the right to threaten my life with a
I
gun.
don't hear threatening.
What do you guys think, guys?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Veronica Redden says her mother-in-law, Donna Redden, owes for rent and for emotional distress. Veronica claims Donna threatened her life with a gun.
It's all very interesting, but you have to tell me what you're here for.
Well, the whole car incident was what led me to suing her because I come home early on the 29th from work. And in a binder that I have that has the bills that we have monthly, she had scribbled out what she was supposed to be paying me for the month and left some remark about how she wasn't an idiot and she wasn't going to pay me.
Except she wasn't going to pay the $700 a month.
Right, because she didn't feel that she needed to because she's taking care of the kids more and everything. But prior to
Just a
that,
second. Miss Redden, so this is what your lawsuit is about. Now we're getting there very swiftly. Your lawsuit is about she didn't pay you for the last month or so.
no, it was actually what I'm suing for is the first month she lived with us in December.
How many months did you work that she lived there?
I only worked a month.
Fine. And for that 1 month, had she paid you the $700?
No, because we made a
How
prior
many
agreement.
$700 payments did she make towards the house?
January and February.
And she left in March.
She left on the 30th of March, so the very end
Okay.
of March.
Shh. When did you get the job at SeaWorld?
The 26th of February is when I started orientation.
So you were working the month of March.
Yes.
Listen to me. If what you're telling me is that you came home and you saw her scratched out that she was going to give you $700 a month because she said that wasn't your arrangement. She wasn't going to watch your kids while you went to work.
No, that was the arrangement when I got the job. She agreed to watching the children. And
Right,
the
just a
arrangement
second.
changed.
Just a second. She agreed to watch your children, Miss Redden, and not pay you rent.
It had nothing to do with the rent. She agreed.
Listen,
No,
listen
because
to
when
me,
I got
listen
the
to me,
job-
listen to me, my dear. Let's go back to the original conversation. Shh, Mrs. Redden, do I look like I need help from you?
No, ma'am.
I mean, she's got a lot of growing up to do.
I
She's
agree.
going to start today.
Thank you.
Your husband had, according to you, an agreement with his mother. His mother said, I don't want her to go out and get a job for a second income. I'll come, and so she doesn't get a job and stays home and watches her children. I'll put in $700 towards running of the household. Then she comes, relocates hundreds and hundreds of miles from a home that she's had for 40 years in order to assist you. Let me tell you what you just told me. She takes care of your children because you decide that you want a job. You want to go to SeaWorld. You want to be amongst people. You don't want to deal with 2, 3, and 4-year-old babies 24/7. That's the hardest job in the world, taking care of 3 little children. It's much easier to be amongst adults where you can meet other reputable people, like a 17-year-old who can't get along with her family. Right? So you go to SeaWorld, and because you don't drive, she puts your 3 children in the car, drives you to work. Then you meet Miss Yuckum over here. And you say, I don't want my friend to have to travel 2 hours by bus. Your mother-in-law says, fine, I'll pick her up or I'll drive her home so she doesn't have to take the bus 2 hours each way. Then, genius that you are, you say, I think I'm going to have her move in with me. I assume that you just met her in SeaWorld, so you know squat about her background. You don't know whether she's got drug problem, an alcohol problem, a boyfriend problem, whether she steals, whether she's got a criminal history, you know nothing about her. You bring her into your house, and within a relatively short period of time, Miss Troublemaker causes a problem between you and your mother-in-law, and you've had months. You know, she drove you to your sister's house or to a baby shower.
There's still time to level up your savings with Save to Win from Right Back Credit Union. So far, nearly 1,000 winners have received cash prizes from our Right Back Credit Union prize pool and a national prize pool. Could you be our next winner?
She does whatever you ask her to.
Guys, I'll be right back,
and she is
okay?
rewarded for that by you suing her. Not only for rent, but for harassment, losing your job. Just a minute, losing your job damages due to mental distress. What mental distress did you have?
She threatened my life.
Tell me about that.
The night of the 29th, I'd come home from work with Deborah.
With Deborah?
Yes, because
With Deborah. Go ahead.
we got into an argument about the scribbling that she put in my little binder thing. So I'd asked her about it. And she said that if I didn't agree with the $200 she was willing to pay, then she wasn't going to pay me anything. So I told her she either had to email my husband or she had to pack up and get out.
That was nice of you.
It's because we were having issues way prior to this.
What kind of issues were you having right prior to this?
She would make up excuses on her being sick and spend days in her bedroom. She'd go
You
off.
mean that you have to watch your own children? Give her a tissue. You mean that you have to watch your own children?
It had nothing to do with watching my own children.
Well, what if she decided to stay in bed? What does that have to do with you? What does that have to do with you if she
Her
decided?
argument for moving in was so that she could help with the children.
So you had to watch your own children that you made because she was in bed.
So that gives her the right to threaten my life with a gun.
I don't hear you. I don't hear threatening.
She walked up the stairs because she supposedly was going upstairs to pack. Her exact words as she was walking up the stairs was, "Do not come upstairs. I have a loaded 38 and I will use it."
So that gave you emotional distress?
That
I'm
scared
just
the
a
crap
second.
out of me.
Just a second. That gave you emotional distress
CPS was called because of this, and CPS threatened to take my children away
because of why?
because I didn't drive.
Do you have anything you want to say to me?
Yes, ma'am. First of all, she was standing at the bottom of the stairs, holding her youngest baby, 21-month-old daughter, in her arms, with Deborah standing next to her, trying to pick a fist fight with me. And I said, "Ronnie, you don't want to mess with me." First of all, I was so mad. She would have left the house in an ambulance. I didn't want to do that because they'd have had me thrown in jail for assault. There would have been a restraining order against me. I didn't want that. I just wanted to pack my stuff and leave as soon as I could. And I said, and so I just said, turn around and started walking up the stairs. And I said, "And don't come upstairs because I got a loaded 38. And that's all I said.
Okay.
And the gun was not loaded. The bullets were locked away.
That's between you and the police department, whether you have a
Yes,
loaded
ma'am.
38 in your license. I don't want to know about it.
Okay.
That doesn't cause her emotional distress. What caused her emotional distress is that she was going to have to take care of her own children.
I agree. I agree.
Now, you want to tell me, is there anything you want to tell me about Child Protective Services?
I think the reason Child Protective Services came is because after things had quieted down, I walked across the street to 7-Eleven, and one of the police officers that had been at the house was over there. Well, I stressed to him to the fact that I love those children dearly, and I hated to leave them in the predicament that they were going to be coming into, and that I was really afraid that they were not going to be taken care of the way children should be taken care of. And the
Okay,
next
as a
morning,
result of that, they called Child Protective
and the
Services.
next morning, Child Protective Services was at the door.
Where are you now?
Oh, I'm back in Oregon now.
Okay, have you been in touch with your son?
No, ma'am, I cannot email him.
Her son wants nothing to do with her.
Why did you leave your house at age 17?
I live in a house with 8 other women.
What do you mean 8 other women? You have a mother?
With my mom and my sisters and my grandmother and my sister's friend.
Yes.
It's just, I wanted to leave.
What do you do now?
I'm going to school.
Who supports you?
I support myself. I work at also.
Do you pay her rent?
Yes.
How much do you pay her?
I pay her $100.
Who watches the children?
We work opposite shifts. So I watch during her shifts, and she takes care of them.
So you watch her 3 babies?
Yes.
Very good. Sit down. Yes.
I might also add that, as far as I know, Deborah's boyfriend is now living with them in the home.
That sounds
Guys,
right.
give me a minute, okay?
Yes. That sounds like a reason one might not want to live with one's mother and grandmother.
Yes. Deborah's boyfriend does not live with us. It's just the two of us there.
How old is the boyfriend?
I have no idea. I've never met him, but when I left, supposedly he was on his way from Portland, Oregon, to come down and move in with them.
What's his name?
His name's Cody.
Cody. How old is he?
19.
Does he go to school?
Yes.
Where?
He does internet classes right now. He's taking a course.
Please, listen to me, Mrs. Red. You have to keep your fingers crossed. There is nothing else you can do.
I pray.
That's what happens when babies make babies.
Yes, ma'am.
That's all. And when babies make not one baby, but 3 babies, that's a big problem. To keep your fingers crossed, you hope that God is watching over them. Your case is dismissed. Grow up!
Step out. 21-year-old student Sandra Pugach is suing her ex-boyfriend, 23-year-old grad student Surya Gunasekara, for a series of unpaid loans. Surya says the money in question was a gift.
I hate ads so much, I've dedicated my entire career to getting rid of them. My name's Brandon Ward. I'm an engineer here at Pi, and I've been here since the beginning. Once you install our ad blocker, you will be able to see how much exact screen real estate that you lose to these ads on sites that you see.
Yana, this is number 39 on the calendar, the matter of Pugach versus Gunasekara. Really? If it's one in there, you may proceed.
Let me go get a green liner,
Mr.
okay?
Pugach, what's your first name?
Sandra.
Mr. Gunasekara, your first name?
Surya.
How long have the two of you been dating?
We dated for about 2.5 years.
Did you live together?
No.
But it is your claim that while you were dating, you made a series of loans to him.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Gunasekara said there were no loans, just the give and take of a normal dating relationship, and he acknowledges that you laid out some money for him. He said that that's part of the dating relationship. Is that right, sir?
Yes, that's correct.
When did you start dating?
We started dating in October of 2002.
And when was the first loan that you made to him?
In July of 2004.
What was it for?
It was for a trip. We went on a couple of trips after we got back from Europe after he graduated from college, and the first we made was with his parents to Canada, and when we would go out, I would pay, and he would always say, oh, when we get back and I get a job, I'll pay you back. And then we went to my hometown in Georgia, and I paid for the hotel, and we went out to dinner, and he said that he would pay for half of it when we got back, and he got a job.
Well, did he ever get a job?
No.
Huh?
No, Your Honor.
He never got a job?
Not until recently.
What's next?
In August, I went to Barcelona to study abroad for the semester, and I thought he was going to stay home and get a job so he could finally get the money to pay me back. And I would question him on if he's been applying to jobs. He would say he would go into interviews, so I figured he was on a line to get a job eventually. Hopefully sooner than later.
Go ahead, Sandra. I'm listening for the rest of the loans.
Okay, so then he moved to Europe, and he eventually came to Barcelona, and I paid for his rent while he lived there, and I paid for his food, and anywhere we would go out, I would pay. And every time I would give him money, he would say, don't worry, you know, when we get back, I'll get a job. I promise I'll pay you back.
Keep calm.
Then we finally came back to the States, and he was going to interviews quite often. He would say he got a job offer, but then wouldn't take it.
Going with the loans, my dear.
So in March of 2005, we took a trip to Las Vegas, and I paid for everything while we were there. And then I really just got tired of him not paying me back. We got back home.
You say in your complaint that he wanted $500 to gamble with.
Yes.
And you gave it to him.
I did.
Who are these two gentlemen over here?
This is my roommate, Danny McGee, and he was in Vegas with us.
And then this is my friend Devin, and he is a mutual friend of ours. He used to hang out with us. He would see me giving Surya money all the time and him promising to pay me back.
Well, I want to hear about the promise to pay you back. Who's raise your hand, please?
Sorry,
Name?
Danny McGee. I'm roommates with Sandy, and I went on a trip to Vegas with both of them. And there's been times in the past where she would give him money to gamble with. If he lost, she would take the loss, and if he won, that they'd split the winnings. And this trip to Vegas, she was hesitant to go because he didn't have any money. And we got out there, and I saw her $200 or $300 that he borrowed from her. And she said specifically at the time, "I'm going to give you this money, and if you lose, you owe it to me." And he agreed and actually lost all the money. And since then, I know he's had 2 jobs and has made no effort to pay her back whatsoever.
Do you have anything to add to this case?
Yeah, I do, actually. Should I stand up?
Yes, you should.
Okay. Well, my name is Devin Stinson, and I've called him before in the past, and I've said, "Hey, let's go get some food or something." And he'd say, "Well, you gotta call Sandy because I don't have any money." And then I'd call Sandy, and we all go out, and then what would wind up happening is he would order, and then after everything was over, he would say, "Well, I don't have any money," and he just expected to be paid for.
Thank you.
Okay.
Open your court.
Well, first off, let me say that the only reason I went to Europe was because I had a job. I had an internship with a software company, and I had that for a while, and it didn't end up working out. My plane ticket wasn't for 6 weeks later, so Sandy and I both agreed that it would be good to spend that 6 weeks together, because I was actually living in Switzerland at the time. And so I came down to Barcelona, and I did have some income through a rental property of mine, so I was making some type of money.
Surya, how old are you?
23.
Am I correct? According to your answer, you're in law school now?
No, not till August.
Where?
Thomas Jefferson or the University of Denver. I haven't chosen one.
What college did you graduate from?
University of Colorado.
And you?
I'm still in school at the University of Colorado.
Where do you get all this money from, Sandra?
I have 2 jobs that I work.
I don't know if I should do my eyeliner
the assistant
burgundy.
manager at a bowling alley at the school, and I work for the housing department at the university.
Guys, I'm so confused.
Do they like him?
Sometimes, most of the time.
Well, I'm sure he can be charming.
You sure can.
When the first time you went out for dinner with him, and he said, "I'm sorry, I left my wallet in my other car. I left my wallet in Switzerland." That should have been a clue. It sounds to me, based upon what this young man has testified to, this was sort of a regular occurrence. He would go out for a meal, he would eat, and you would pay. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Should have known better, son.
Picture this. Saving up to 10% when you bundle your home and auto insurance with USAA. Some things just click. Get a quote today.
I just found this. I don't know if it's gonna be like the exact color, but we'll see.
The thousands of real people who go undiagnosed. People whose psoriasis can look very different depending on their skin tone. As the makers of Tremfya, we understand that everybody's moderate to severe plaque psoriasis doesn't look the same. So we undertook a first-of-its-kind study of plaque psoriasis in every skin tone, like hers and his.
Who is this, by the way?
This is Ryan Watson. He's my roommate.
Does he have anything to contribute to this case?
Yeah. I'll let him explain.
I witnessed on many occasions Surya doing favors for Sandy, tutoring her and cleaning and making her dinner and things like that. And on some of those occasions, she would ask Surya to help her do those things, and Surya would say, "No, not right now, I'm busy." But then she'd say, "Surya, you owe me so much money," using that against him, and he would end up doing that. So in both
So
our
you mean
opinions,
he was bartering domestic chores
right,
for the money he owed her?
right.
And educational, Your Honor.
Surya, do you think that Sandra tutored you in some things?
As far as school?
Anything.
It's quite possible.
She didn't charge you for it, did she?
Emotionally.
She charged me.
How did she, shh, come on folks, come on, behave, let's behave. How did she charge you emotionally?
I had to put up with so much ridiculous nonsense.
Surya, that you don't have to put up with it, I don't want to hear it. You weren't tethered to a radiator, were you?
In a metaphorical sense.
No metaphorical sense. No metaphorical
Literally
sense.
no.
You were in Switzerland, she was in Barcelona. Nobody got a magnet and attached it to you in Switzerland. You came down there by your
Own recognizance.
You're not in law school yet. Let's stick to the English you understand, sir.
Okay.
You think you took advantage of her?
I don't.
You just think that she understood what she was getting herself into. She had the money at the time. You did not.
Right.
And she wanted to travel to Vegas. You said, I'll go with you, but I have no money.
Yeah, she
And she
understood
said,
that
I got the money. You pay me back when you get a job.
No, the arrangement was she was going to cover all the expenses.
Why?
Why? Because they needed a third person to go. Danny and her weren't just going to go by themselves.
Why?
Because they needed motivation. And I was that motivation.
Sandra, you schlepped around with him.
Guys,
for 2 years.
sorry, okay?
Yes, you let him take advantage of you for 2 years. So then what you do is you say, thank God I figured out that this was not Mr. Right. Before I planned a wedding with him, I had a child with him. You could sit down now, roommate. I don't think you had a valid contract with him. I think you had the hopes and the dreams of a young lady who was in love. And I'm sure that there was a time when he felt mutually. But you're a giver, and he's a taker. Somehow in his own mind, he is entitled to take. Where are your parents?
In Santa Monica?
Do they indulge you?
Not really.
Sounds to me as if you've been indulged. Switzerland, Barcelona, working, not working, looking for just the right gig. The girlfriend takes care of you. There's a sense, Surya, of entitlement. Shh, do not answer. Now it's my turn. Sandra may find you irresistible, I guarantee you, sir. I do not. So, Sandra, I wish in my heart I could say to you you had a valid contract, which is what the only thing that I'm here to address. You did not have a contract recognized in the law for him to pay you back. But I'm telling you, I think that you're lucky. Because you're a lovely looking, intelligent, hard-working young lady who should not hitch her star to somebody who has a sense of entitlement and who will just use you in one way or another for your whole life. Got it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Goodbye. Good luck.
Party's next.
Surya.
Step out.
Bye-bye.
She made her decision. That's fine. I hope Sammy has a great life, and I wish her well.
We were in a relationship, and when you're in a relationship, you do things together. You cook dinner and you clean.
They're about sharing and trust.
You help get part of the other person out when they need help, and that's all part of a relationship.
And we love each other.
I've learned to not just give out my money to people because I think I'm in love.
She gave up believing in me.
Obviously, it didn't work out for me this time, so I'll just keep my money in my pockets.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Grimm versus Bynum. Step forward, please.
Student Ingrid Grimm is suing the great-grandmother of her daughter's friend, Amy Bynum, for damage to their pocket bike. Ingrid says Amy's great-granddaughter, 9-year-old Michaela, wrecked it during a birthday party.
Miss Grimm, your daughter was having a birthday party. What birthday was she celebrating?
Actually, it was two of my daughters, my 11-year-old and my 13-year-old.
How many children did you have at the party?
There was approximately 20 to 25 children.
And Miss Bynum's granddaughter was one of those children, and you are her guardian, is that right?
Yes.
It is your claim that Miss Bynum's granddaughter rode a pocket bike. It's a motorized bike, is that right?
Yes, gas.
And she damaged the bike. You want her grandmother to pay for it.
Yes.
Tell me how that happened.
Well, it was understood that the party...
Don't tell me what was understood. Just tell me what happened.
During the course of the party, we had allowed the children to ride. We have approximately 8 different bikes. And they were given certain rules that they had to follow in order to be able to ride the bikes. And Michaela did not follow those rules and therefore damaged the bike.
What rule didn't she follow?
Well, they were only supposed to go a certain distance, still within visual range of our house, which is approximately 8 to 9 houses, which is 1 block's length. Turn around and come back. And then she was
And who
supposed to
was
take
watching
turns.
them at that time?
I was outside in the garage, and then my boyfriend, Rodney.
Well, who was watching Michaela? That's Michaela over there?
Yes.
Who was watching Michaela?
Everybody was, because the children.
Not everybody. Were you watching her?
No, not at the time.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Miss Grimm, I want to ask you a couple of more questions. Then I'm going to end.
Persuasively possible. Then I set the tone of how I want to come across in my email and pressed it. And it really creates a complete draft using the exact points already outlined, all done in less than a minute. What are you waiting for?
Your husband, Dan. What do you give the love of your life after 14 years? Oh, maybe something for the other love of his life. Don't overthink it. The best hair care gifts are only at Sephora.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Ingrid Grimm says 9-year-old Michaela Nash wrecked her twin daughter's pocket bike while riding it at their birthday party. Michaela's great-grandmother, Amy Bynum, says Ingrid allowed Michaela to ride the bike without her consent.
Michaela, I want you to stand up next to Grandma, okay? How did you know that Michaela had damaged the bike? Did somebody come and say Michaela fell off the bike?
Yes. Well, it's about 5 children that had come and told us that.
Who did they come and tell?
They told both me and Rodney.
So that what you're telling me, Miss Grimm, is that neither you nor Rodney were watching Michaela. Is that correct?
Yes, we were.
You weren't. Because you just said to me, 5 children came and told me that Michaela had had an accident on the bike. And I said, who did they come and tell? And you said they came and told me and my boyfriend, which suggests to me that neither you nor your boyfriend was supervising the child when she was on the bike. Right?
Okay, you can say that, yes.
You see, you don't have to say anything. You're going to tell me what happened to the bike, Michaela, very fast. Tell me what happened to the bike.
I ran into the curb and then the bike and the tire wouldn't move.
Were you driving someplace where you weren't supposed to be driving? You were driving up the block? Had other children driven to the same location?
They drove a little farther.
Really? And who was watching you when you were driving?
Rodney.
Rodney. Where was he?
He was at the house.
Was he there when the other children were riding further than you rode?
Yes.
Were you hurt?
No.
Miss Grimm, I want to ask you a couple of more questions.
Okay.
Then I'm going to end this torture. Let us say Michaela, who's driving a motorized bike in the street. The law permits you to do that?
Yes.
How fast do they go?
Anywhere from 15 to 20 miles, I think.
15 to 20 miles an hour?
Yes.
How old are you, Michaela?
9.
Let us assume that, heaven forbid, Michaela had an accident on this bike and was injured. Do you think you would be liable for her injuries?
Yes.
Why?
Well, because she was at my party that I was supervising.
Correct. So why in the world would you think that her grandmother is responsible for the damage to the bike?
Because she did not follow the rules and she went further than where she was supposed to.
That was your responsibility to make sure that she didn't, not her grandmother's. When you invite children to your home to a birthday party, you become an insurer of their well-being. It is your responsibility to supervise them all the time that they're there. And if you elect to allow them to ride on a vehicle that can go 15 to 20 miles an hour, if there's an accident, you are 100% responsible. Did you tell her grandmother you were going to be allowing her to drive that bike?
All the parents were aware.
Were you made aware of that fact?
No, I was not.
I asked you whether you made Miss Bynum aware that you were going to allow her granddaughter to ride this bike.
all the parents were aware.
No, you can't answer the question, Miss Grimm, by saying to me all the parents were aware. You can't tell me what they were aware of when I ask you a simple question, which is, did you tell Miss Bynum that her granddaughter was going to be using a motorized vehicle?
I told all the parents of
When
the
did you
children.
tell Miss Bynum?
Well, when she dropped the children off.
What did you tell Miss Bynum?
I let them know that.
No. What did you tell Miss Bynum? What did you tell Miss Bynum when she dropped off Michaela?
Well, we introduced ourselves, and I thanked her for allowing her granddaughter to come to the birthday party. I let them know that what was.
Now you let them know. I want you to tell me what you said to Miss Bynum.
I don't recall.
Miss Bynum, is anything said to you about your granddaughter riding a motorized bike?
No. I would not have left her at the party if it was.
But anyway, Miss Grimm, you are an insurer of the minor children left in your care and custody when you invite children to a birthday party. If they damage something in your home, it's your fault. If they hurt themselves when they damage something in your home, it's your fault. So you can't invite more children to a party than you're prepared to supervise properly. And I certainly would exercise better judgment than allowing a 9-year-old child to get on a motorized bike that's capable of going 20 miles an hour. Case is dismissed, that's all.
All you are excused, you may step out.
Emily Dennis and her father, Rodney Dennis, are suing Emily's ex-boyfriend, 22-year-old Aaron Eby, for rent, bills, and the value of a car.
All rise. Michaels is everything for holiday crafting. Or the sequence too much.
This is case number 55 on the calendar in the matter of Dennis versus Judy. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Have a seat, please.
Miss Dennis, how old are you?
I'm 21.
Are you an only child?
I have 2 sisters.
Is this your dad?
Yeah.
This is your complaint. Mr. Eby
Yep.
is the prize. He is also the defendant. This is his wife?
Yes.
He separates from his wife in August. You take up with him almost immediately.
Yes.
Did you know he was separated at the time?
Yes.
So you knew he was married?
Yes.
How much after he left his wife did he hook up with you?
In October.
No, you met him before October. You moved in according to your complaint in
He lived
October.
next door to my parents.
With his wife or after he separated?
Both.
So as soon as the wife moved out, you started dating.
Yeah.
Big mistake. Did your father tell you it was a big mistake?
Yes.
Right?
Right.
How much of a big mistake did you tell her it was?
I told her it was a big one. I told her it wouldn't have been worth it.
So she moves in with him in October. Now at that time, you rented your own apartment?
I had my own place still.
And when did you become pregnant?
November.
Birth control sound familiar to you?
Yeah.
What did you say to her when you found out not only was she living with him, but she was pregnant?
They always tell me when I'm on the road, so I'll be calmed down when I get home.
What kind of work do you do, Mr. Dennis?
Truck driver.
Well, then it seems that Mr. Eby decides to go back to his wife. Your lawsuit for 2 things. For a couple of months' rent that is still owed after he moved out, and for the value of car that you purchased for him, Mr. Dennis. You purchased an old car, $500?
Yeah.
Now, Mr. Eby says that the car was a gift and that you paid the bills while you were living there, but after you moved out, you changed the locks and you're not responsible for anything else.
Yep.
Mr. Dennis, I want you to tell me about the car.
She worked first shift. He worked second shift. She was getting off it.
Where?
She worked at a daycare, and he worked at a place called Cook's Foods. She was getting home about 4:30. He had to be to work by 4:45, which he was always being late. So I told him, I didn't tell him nothing. I went out. I went to a car lot and asked him if they had a car for about $500. So on the way over to pick up the car, I asked him if he could get insurance on the car. And he said no. So I paid the $500, put the car in his name in case he had an accident. I didn't want to be liable for it. And then
So far, smart.
And then when they got their income tax money, I was supposed to get my $500 back. And that never happened.
What do you mean when they many other children do you have?
Two.
You have enough children.
That's what I thought. I thought she had enough at one.
Mr. Dennis, we could have been twins. Who takes care of these 3 children?
I do. Well, I'm still carrying one. I take care of the other 2.
Where are their fathers?
My daughter's dad is deceased, and my son's dad lives across town.
And you're still living in this house?
Yes.
Emily, you have to find another hobby. Making children is not a hobby.
I know.
Let's get to the car part.
I offered to pay him back $500 a couple weeks later at Red Lobster on the 12th of April. And he declined my money. I had the money for him. He said no.
What did he say?
He said, no, I don't want your money. I want the car. I have the title right here. And these are the things they forged.
You have the car.
Yep.
Why, yes, it sounds
Yes.
nice. How many children do you have?
I have one.
You have one now.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Did he offer you $500?
No, he said he was willing to pay me $500 for it, but not. He didn't have it then.
Oh, but you said you had it.
I did have it.
Well, that's what he wants. He wants the $500. So you have no problem with that.
No, I don't have a problem with that.
Now let's talk about the rent. Miss Dennis, when did Mr. Eby move out?
April 9th. He walked out.
Why?
He told me he's taken his daughter to his aunt's house and never returned.
Did you change the locks?
No.
What month's rent are you claiming that he owes you?
Well, I paid April's myself, and I've paid May's.
But he wasn't there anymore.
Well, yeah.
Why didn't he pay any of April's rent?
Because I got my paycheck from work, and I paid it because he was in between jobs, and he didn't have a paycheck at the time to pay it.
Did you move out on April? Why are you laughing?
Because I never technically moved out of there. I came home. Locks were changed.
When?
On the 14th of April.
Okay, so how much was your half of the rent?
I paid all the rent.
In April?
Yes. All she gets for a check is from welfare.
Who paid April's rent? Do you have a rent receipt for April's rent?
Nope. She would have it. Because I don't have nothing because she wouldn't allow me back in the
I
house.
see there's...
New fresh stacks. Only $2.98. For on-the-go stacking. New fresh stacks just dropped for only $2.98.
Did you give her cash to pay the rent?
Yep.
Let's try that again.
Yes.
Mr. Eby, these 2 women may find you irresistible. I guarantee you I do not.
Okay.
The only month that I'm interested in is April. The only month that you show me on a receipt for rent for April, every other receipt is nice and clear. The month, the date is nice and clear. The only thing that there's something written over is April. I mean, didn't you think that I'd notice that?
I picked them up.
Well, what happened here?
I don't know. I didn't look
Well,
at
I don't know either. You get money from social services?
No.
Other than your job, how do you support yourself?
My son's dad pays child support.
You get social security for your son, for your child whose father is dead?
No, I don't.
Why not?
Because he didn't work.
Another winner. You help her?
more than we should, but yeah.
What is she going to do after her lease is up?
She's moving into our house.
Who else lives in your house, Mr. Dennis?
All of them. That's why I drive a truck.
You have 3 children? 3 children? She the only one with children?
No,
How many of the others have children?
all of them.
Mr. Dennis, you missed the class on teaching your children birth control.
They missed the class on birth.
They missed the class on birth control. All right, now, Mr. Eby, you have a counterclaim. If my memory is
Go back for a second.
what?
Things that reported.
You mean forged with regard to the car?
Yeah.
Listen to me very carefully. Put that down, sir. Put the papers down. Other than the fact that you told me that you agreed to pay him back, and you said to him, here's $500, I'm going to pay you back for the car, I would have ruled in your favor because there was no loan agreement. But you agreed to pay him back. So you're going to pay him back, and I don't care if they forged the Declaration of Independence. You're going to pay him back for the car.
I offered him and he said no.
Now he says yes. Now you're going to pay him back for the car, not for the rent. She lived there. She's going to take care of the rent, and she has taken care of the rent. Now, let's get to your counterclaim.
My counterclaim is for my living room set that she still has, my entertainment stand, TV, VCR, movies, Xbox, etc., washer and dryer.
Now, did he purchase all of those things?
No, we didn't.
Who purchased them?
I did.
All of them?
Yes.
Let me see the receipts.
I don't have receipts. I didn't think I was going to get into a situation
Well,
like
just a second. When you moved into the house, he was already living there. So I want you to be very careful with what you tell me. Your father is a backup, and your father and I are almost soulmates here. Do you understand? Dennis? You moved into his house, and because according to you, his wife left. You were still living there, and a couple of weeks later, you move in.
Yes.
With your 2 children. Did he have furniture in his place when you moved in?
He gave it all to his wife.
Everything?
Yes, I even had to provide a bed for his daughter.
Mr. Dennis, did Aaron over here have any furniture?
Yes, he did, but he,
Stop doing that.
he threw tantrums once in a while, and he'd start throwing his furniture out of the house, and then by the garbage, and then they'd pick it up and haul it off. He did that a lot.
What did your daughter move in with?
Well, we carried a big screen TV in there, sofa love seat, her bedroom set, her daughter's bedroom set, and her son's bedroom set. That's what
What about a washer dryer?
that was already in there.
Is that yours? You want it back? Done. What else do you say that's there, sir?
TV, VCR, movies, Xbox, couch.
Well, just a second. How many TVs were in the house?
1.
That's hers.
No, hers got repoed.
First of all, we have 4 TVs in our home.
Oh, you do? Well, one of them must belong to him.
And he can have it. It is downstairs.
Oh, fine.
That's not the TV.
Listen to me. You're lucky I'm listening to this at all. Because you two have to find another hobby. You have enough children for a while. Caused enough damage.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I understand why she would do something like she had done. He had done everything to help her. It really hurt.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Emily Dennis and her father Rodney Dennis are suing the father of Emily's unborn child, Aaron Eby, for rent, bills, and the value of a car. Aaron is countersuing for the return of his furniture.
Washer, dryer, and TV. He's going to pick it up 5 days from today.
Okay.
Do you speak to him?
No.
Do you?
No, but I can. I mean, it won't bother me.
Fine. Then why don't you?
He knows my number.
Why don't you make arrangements to go and get it?
All right.
So, I read your answer, Mr. Eby, and according to you, you're not even sure that this baby that Miss Dennis is having is yours. I have a feeling it is. But I'm sure you're going to do a paternity test.
Yes.
Which is a very good idea. And that means that the 2 of you are going to be joined in some way for the next couple of decades. So I said,
At Amico Insurance, we know it's more than a life policy. It's about the promise and the responsibility that comes with being a new parent. Being there day and night. And building a plan for tomorrow, today.
just start to act responsibly and reasonably towards each other. And he has a very calming effect. At least he did on me. He had a very calming effect. So I suggest you keep him as a friend. Do you understand?
Yes.
Do the right thing with him. He's tried to do the right thing with you. Got it?
Yes.
Okay. You took him back?
Yeah, I did.
No, I didn't. Just, yeah, I did. It's fine.
Yes.
Good. Shh. Say nothing. Sit down. You taking it back is your problem, not mine. Very good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $500 on the counterclaim. You'll have the property as I outlined in 5 days, and Mr. Dennis will take care of the scene with it. It's picked up. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
They went out to my car, stole the bill of sale, forged my name on it.
He moved in 2 weeks after I left. He was no good.
trying to give me a ticket because the cops were going to write me a ticket for possession of a stolen vehicle.
He left me for his drug addict wife. All the furniture was ours. I'm carrying his child.
Yeah, I'd like to have it be part of it, but, you know, if it ain't, I can pick up the pieces from there.
And now the next case.
All parties to the matter, Herzog versus Emery. Step forward.
Kimberly Herzog is suing her former nanny, 24-year-old Sarah Emery, for a loan to pay her bills, lost wages, and daycare costs. Sarah says Kimberly is possessive and controlling.
Ms. Herzog, the defendant was working for you as a nanny, and according to your complaint, you loaned her $1,000 because she was having some back surgery. The arrangement was that she was supposed to pay you back. You were going to deduct a certain amount of money when she returned to work from her weekly salary. So far, am I correct?
Yes.
And she had the surgery, and then, according to you, she left your employment. You want your money back.
Correct.
And Miss Emery said that you fired her without good cause, and that's why she couldn't pay you back. When did she come to work for you?
She started working for me January of 2004.
How many children do you have?
I have 2.
When was the surgery?
January.
Of 2005. So for the year that she worked for you, from January 2004 till January 2005, was her work satisfactory?
Yes, until the very end, which actually led to the dismissal. I had spoken to her on multiple occasions.
About what?
About making my child sit on the couch for 3 hours while my other child was sleeping.
That's not true. When did she borrow the money from you?
She borrowed the money on January 14th.
So she borrowed the money after you had conversations with her about her performance, her
Yes.
work performance. Was she scheduled to be out of work for any period of time?
Yes, she took 2 weeks off.
And there is no issue as to whether Ms. Herzog loaned you the money?
Correct.
Well, now I'll hear your defense.
Okay. In January, I gave my 2 weeks after I came back to work on Monday. Tuesday night, I called her and I told her I was going to stay with my sister, and she got angry at me and told me that I had to stay at her house.
Well, was it your usual routine to stay at her, to sleep at her house, or you?
Yes, I was a live-in nanny, so I stayed at her house.
So why were you going to stay at your sister's house?
It was she expected me to hang out with her and spend time with her at night when I was off duty, and I didn't think that I should have to stay at her house when I was paying her rent or spend time with her family if I didn't want to.
So what did you do?
We got in a big argument, and I told her that if I wanted to stay with my sister, that I could. And she got angry at me, and then started accusing me of things with the boys, of not caring for them the way I should, and that I loved my nephew more, and all this stuff that wasn't true. And we ended up getting a fight. And on Wednesday, I couldn't handle anymore. And so when she was at work, I moved out.
When you moved out on Wednesday, how did you intend to repay the $1,000?
I was going to make payments from. I gave her 2 weeks notice, and I was going to be able to get a job within that 2 weeks. But 2 days later, she fired me. I'm trying to get unemployment, and she's fighting me on that. She's trying to do anything she can to ruin my life.
How are you supporting yourself?
Right now, I finally started to get unemployment from the state.
Go ahead, let me hear what happened between Wednesday and Friday.
On Wednesday, I come home, and everything was moved out of the house.
And she quit?
And she quit. And she had my kids the whole day.
Okay.
That she had done this.
Fine. She quit.
Yes.
Did she work for you on Thursday and Friday?
Yes. I didn't have anything else I could do at that point.
Okay. What did you say to her on Thursday and Friday?
I told her that I didn't understand why she would do something like she had done, move out of our home like that, quit. We had done everything to help her. It really hurt. It hurt to help someone so much and not.
Did you fire her on Friday?
I did not fire her. I rendered her services at that point. I didn't trust her in my home.
So you fired her? You let her go? Tell me what you did.
I just came home and I gave her money that she had worked and let her know that at that point on I did not want her watching my children.
Well, I would probably do the same thing. Somebody moved out of my house after almost a year working for me without notifying me, moved stuff out during the course of the day when you're supposed to be watching her children. I would probably terminate your services too. In any event, you sure let her quit. She wouldn't have collected unemployment.
I'm fighting it.
Well,
she didn't appear to the appear hearing last week, so.
The truth of the matter is, she quit on Wednesday, and she owes you the money. You took $60 out of
Yes, I did.
the first paycheck, the
Yes,
last
I did.
paycheck you gave her, so she owes you $940. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $940. That's all.
40-year-old caterer William Patterson is suing neighbor, 29-year-old massage therapist Tim Freytag for impound fees and loss of wages resulting from false hit-and-run charges.
Order. All rise.
Welcome to Nissan. Are you interested in test drive? Absolutely. There's the all-new Kicks, the new Frontier, and the Nissan Rogue, a Best Buy 10 years in a row. Hurry into the Nissan year-end sales event.
You know what you don't see in psoriasis commercials? The thousands of real people.
This is case number 495 on the calendar in the matter of Patterson versus Freytag. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Mr. Patterson, how long have you and the defendant been neighbors?
Approximately 4 to 5 years.
Have had any trouble with each other? Other than this incident?
Yes, I have.
Like what kind of trouble?
Well, my dogs were poisoned, my car was hit and run, my tires have been slashed.
What does that have to do with the defendant?
Well, I feel that he filed this report maliciously against me, Your Honor, to make my
I'm
life.
not talking about the report. I'm talking about prior to this report that we're talking about. Had you had any difficulty with him?
Other than incidents, no. I rarely see these people or speak.
So, my question is, prior to this incident, had you had any difficulty with Mr. Freytag?
No.
According to your complaint, you hit his car.
Yes.
Which was parked.
Yes.
And that happened on a Friday, the 15th of December. Your claim is that he filed a false report of a hit and run, as a result of which your car was impounded, you lost a catering job, you want him to pay for the impound fees and the loss of income that you had as a result of this catering job.
Yes, sir.
So let's go to December 15th. At what time of the day did you hit his car?
I would say about 8:30 a.m.
What happened when you hit his car?
Well, when I start the car, I put it in gear, the van lurched forward and broke Mr. Freytag's lens covers on his car and scratched his bumper. Then Mr. Freytag came out, running out of his house, yelling at me, and I told him that I was an accident, that I was sorry, that I had insurance, that I would pay for it.
Glad you checked. Did you give him your insurance card and information?
No, I showed it to him.
What do you mean you showed it to him?
I showed it to him, I said, I have insurance for all my vehicles. He kept yelling at me. He says, why, you can't do that? You're not allowed to do that. I said, don't worry about it, I'll take care of it. I have to leave now, and I did. I had a big event that evening. I will at any time work 3 to 5 parties in a weekend, so
Just try to answer my questions, sir.
Okay.
You're not going to get ahead of me.
I know.
Trust me.
I do trust you.
Just trust me that you're not going to get ahead of me. Where were you going?
I was going to the store to pick up some product.
What kind of product?
I think it was paper plates and napkins or something.
Anything else?
It was, I think I needed some sugar and some dairy product, and
So where did you go after you left the store?
I went back and parked
To where? Went back to where?
a street in back of my house, 2 blocks from my house.
And why did you do that?
Because I've been having my tires slashed.
But you had your tires slashed before and you parked in front of your house.
Well, I actually have built a driveway on the side of my house.
I mean, just this day you decided
Yeah,
when you
because
came back not to park your car there.
It's a hassle to park in that small area that I have.
So instead you parked 2 blocks away.
This time, yes.
And you walked home with all your product.
No, I left the product in the van.
So then whatever you bought, you left in the van and you went to your house.
I made some phone calls and, went out in my other car to meet someone.
What time?
9:30, 10 maybe.
So you went to the store?
I don't know if I'm feeling this.
Made some phone calls and then went out again, all in the span of a half hour? So then you went out again in another one of your cars.
Yes.
And that car, I guess you weren't worried about having the tires slashed.
No. It had already been slashed.
You mean you drove a car with slashed tires?
No.
And what time did you get home that evening?
We left.
Excuse me?
When I saw my car being towed, I canceled my party and I
How
left.
did you see your car being towed?
Well, I saw the police in front of my house talking to Mr. Freytag.
About what time, sir?
This is about 10 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, so you didn't leave?
I was driving by and I saw the police in in front of the house, talking to Mr. Freitag.
Yes.
And I didn't want to deal with the police. They've been searching my house 3-4 times a month.
Just a second. You didn't want to deal with the police at that time.
Yeah.
So I assume that you knew at that time they were talking to Mr. Freitag about the accident that had occurred that morning.
Guys, I'm happy. I'm happy with this makeup. Let me know what you guys think, cause
So you left.
Exactly.
I don't know. I mean, the eyebrows.
When did that happen?
My neighbor told me that my van had been towed and that the police were looking for me.
At what time did you see your neighbor?
This was in the early afternoon.
What did you do then?
I went to Santa Barbara.
Is that where the car was?
No, that's where the police weren't.
That's where the police were not.
Yes,
Okay. And why did you do that?
because I'm afraid of the police.
Okay. Okay. When did you finally make contact with the police, Mr. Patterson?
Monday morning.
So that was 3 days later.
Yes.
Okay. And what did you do?
I went in because I called the detectives, wanted me to come in. I came in, I
How did you
showed
know
them my
that?
insurance, and they
How
told
did
me to go.
How did you know to see this particular detective? Was there a note on your door?
How did I don't remember.
Okay. But they told you where your car was.
Yes,
And when was your catering job?
that evening, December 15th.
Well, could you explain to me, even if I bought this whole story, could you explain to me why Mr. Freitag was responsible for you losing a catering job on December 15th?
Because he had my car filed towed for no other reason than to be malicious. I mean, I live next door to him.
Just a second. So, you would have all this stuff prepared, I assume, for this party on December 15th. If you had everything ready, you go to the party and you do the party. You rent a couple of taxi cabs and you get there. Why is he responsible for that?
Because my van was towed.
I'm saying to you, sir, you have the food for the party, you got the paper plates, you got the sugar, you got the dairy, you got everything else. You want to go over to the party, and I assume that you had done all of this stuff well in advance, at least most of it, certainly done in the morning. He didn't interfere, you weren't in jail. You go to do the party. All right, Mr. Freitag, let's hear your version. Hits your car, you hear a noise, what happened?
I believe he hit my car at 8 a.m. in the morning, and I would like to elaborate on something. I believe that my car being struck deliberately is simply a symptom of a larger scope, a bigger picture. I have evidence of a running log of Bill Patterson harassing his wife, and she at this point is 7 months pregnant. Once I called the police because of it. My witness, John Kelly, has called the police based on this log about 4 times, I believe. So
Can I see the log, please?
it's this wife harassment process, and my
What's-
worry and my concern for the baby that I believe has brought all of this on.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Let me see if I look good in this. Then I'm not gonna wear.
Filed false hit and run charges against him. Tim denies the charges were false and says he's concerned for the welfare of William's wife.
Are you aware of the fact that he called the police as a result of what he believed to be domestic violence in your house?
I believe that he was calling the police, yes.
Is this your wife?
Yes.
Have you been at home when the police responded to your home?
Pardon?
Have you been at home when the police came to your home
Yes.
involving domestic violence in your home?
The first time, no.
At any time?
Yes.
How long have you been married to the plaintiff?
Tomorrow gonna be 3 years.
You have children?
One baby, yeah.
How old is your baby?
7 months.
Does your husband yell?
Sometimes.
Does he yell loud?
He has a loud voice, yeah.
Do you ever yell at him?
Not often.
Has your husband ever put his hands on you?
No.
Never.
No.
Where do you come from?
I'm from El Salvador.
Do you have any other family here?
No.
You're alone.
Yeah.
Do you know the defendant?
Yeah.
Have you ever spoken with him?
Just one time.
When was that?
I guess I was pregnant when I talked to him. He was doing some gardening, and we live next door, and he just, I don't know, I talked to him.
You never had any problem with him, is that right? You never had any problem with Mr. Freitag?
No.
Can I say something?
Mm-hmm.
I do operate a catering business out of my home. I yell on the phone with with my purveyors, with my fishmonger, whoever it is.
We're talking
I
about here.
understand that's not what you're
Mr.
talking
Patterson,
about.
that's not what
And
we're
I
talking
have
about here.
built fences between our property to try and give my neighbors more privacy.
Illegal
But
fence.
there's no domestic violence going on, and I consider this harassment. I mean, we have had the agriculture department, the dog catcher,
Mr.
the
Patterson,
building inspector,
Mr.
every
Patterson.
possible person come and inspect us.
Mr. Patterson, we're not talking about yelling and screaming on the phone, sir, to people who are servicing your business. And when I asked you before whether or not you had had any prior dealings of a negative nature with the defendant, you said no. But you just told me, sir, you were aware of the fact or believed that he had called the police with regard to what he believed to be domestic violence coming from your home.
I assume that. I also assume that he's been slashing the tires and doing all this other malicious stuff to my property.
You want to say anything else, sir?
It sounded one day and several times like his wife was in distress and he was doing the aggressive yelling.
Were you the only one at home when you heard that?
No.
Who else was at home?
John Kelly on many occasions.
Let's step up, Mr. Kelly. I'd like to hear you, sir.
And
I feel like the makeup has to set before I do after pictures. I always do after pictures. Literally immediately I put on setting spray.
Have you ever heard
Yeah, no.
appeared to be yelling
It got set.
from the plaintiff's home?
That's what I'm waiting for. So I'll leave you guys to be.
Save more when you buy more in Michael's. With Michael's
I'll go look for something to do.
saves on bulk every day. Need supplies for your small business? Restocking your craft closet? Planning a big event? You'll always save on bulk when you shop Michael's Pro online.
Can you tell me what you heard the first time?
Very loud yelling.
This is the end of Vlogmas.
We had been concerned about her ongoing, and I just got to the point
Day
where I
5.
no longer ignore it. And
Day
by the
5.
time she had the baby,
Come back tomorrow for day 6. I'm gonna be doing this every day until Christmas, okay? I'll see you guys. I love you all. Oh, and we hit 3K. We hit 3K, guys. We hit 3K. Let's get the subscription going. Let's get the likes. Let's get the share going. We hit 3K finally. And I want us to hit like 5K by January. So let's get it moving, guys. Please. Your girl needs some money. And that's on period. I'll see you guys. I love you. I love you. If you're watching right now, I love you. Put in the comments. I love you. Yeah. And this is the final look. I love it. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments, cause let me know. I don't know, the camera is not doing justice. You'd probably have to subscribe to my channel, and then you'd have to, oh, the body is bodying today, baby. Oh, that's on period. If you want, go ahead and subscribe, because we're gonna have fun. Next year, I got a lot of plans for you guys. A lot of plans, okay? So, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.